Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Whether we are out riding with our friends and family or racing in extreme environments, we all need good tires. That's why I recommend GBC Power Sports Tires, a division of Greenball Corp. Their products, which include XC Master, Mini Master, and Groundbuster 3, are what leading professionals in the ATV-UTV industry are using. You can get your tires at greenballtires.com or find them on Instagram as GBC Tires for further inquiries. Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, Score, Best in the Desert, ATV MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450-655-4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs. Welcome to DBR Racing Products, the leader in 3D modeling and innovations. Since 2015, they have been revolutionizing the industry, starting with their groundbreaking YFZ 450R battery boxes. But they didn't stop there. They have continued to push the boundaries, constantly improving their design with each new version. In 2018, they introduced the game-changing Vortex EXO cage, specifically designed to securely hold the Vortex ECU in a safe and sturdy location. This breakthrough innovation ensures your ECU stays protected even in the toughest racing conditions. At DBR, they understand that every detail matters. That's why they also offer an array of essential products to enhance your racing experience. Their spark plug hold downs keep your engine firing at peak performance, while their LTR breather boxes ensure optimal ventilation for your machine. Their LT250 engine skid plates are a must-have for those seeking unmatched protection. Engineered to shield your engine from impacts and rough terrain, they provide the ultimate defense for your ATV. But that's not all. They've developed ProPeg mounts that allow you to use TRX 450R Nerf bars, giving you greater control and maneuverability on the track. To explore their full range of innovative products and learn more about DBR Racing, visit their website at www.dbratv.com. You can also reach them directly at 507-828-1233. Their knowledgeable team is ready to assist you with any questions or inquiries. DBR Racing Products, where innovation meets performance. Unleash the power within you. Dave Scott, welcome back to ATV Talk, man.
Hi, Lenny. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, brother. My pleasure. Hey, last time we talked, I don't think we made it clear that you got to ride on two very prolific desert teams that were highly, highly successful. Well, really three,
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, go ahead.
We had, I had my personal stuff with my guys here, and then uh, Craig's teams, I guess I should say, and
Well, you got
also
to
a
ride.
couple.
You got to ride with Jeremy
Yep,
Sanchez, and you got to ride with Craig Christie's team. You got to ride with Danny Prather and Cody.
yep,
I mean, and every team you rode on was successful and won championships.
yeah. I know a couple of those races and a few of the years in Baja. Craig had two quads racing in Baja, and I actually raced each time on both bikes. I would get off one and wait for the other one, stuff like that. And I, like you said, I had uh, Jeremy Sanchez, then Danny Prather and Cody Mitchell, and I had a few partners here and there along the way because sometimes I had to kind of find somebody that, because not everyone can make it every time. So I just kind of find who I could find and make it happen. I just wanted to race.
Right. I mean, yeah, I remember watching you win your first Best in the Desert championship. I was there, and we were just outside where we stayed at the hotel because the course came right next to there as you were coming through, right when you won.
Yeah, nope. That was 2008.
Was it 2008? That's a long time ago.
We're old.
No, you may be. You're old. I'm not old. I'm not. I'm never getting old. I have had this white hair as long as you've known me.
That's the California look. It's all right.
Right, right. So, hey, the other day you sent me a photo. You were out riding dirt bikes, just out having fun, or were you out with your buddies, or what were you doing?
Yeah. So my son is now in 14. Um, he's always kind of have a quad, and he hasn't really been too into it. The quad, I just kind of thought it wasn't his thing, and he wanted a dirt bike. I got him a little CRF 150R. He really didn't love that too much either. So I traded a buddy some stuff and got a basket case, uh, uh, 2005 YZ 125. He rode that a little bit, and then my nephew, which would be his cousin, obviously, has a 2003 CR 250, and he rode that, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really think he could handle even the 125, and he just got on the 125 and then the 250 and just tore it up. So we found him he likes two strokes, and it's good because he's a small skinny kid, but he's tall. And so we got him a 2003 CR 250 two stroke, obviously. And so he's been tearing it up, and all the racing here in New Mexico, there's not any really quad races to enter, and I wanted to be kind of be able to ride with him, maybe do a race with him, follow him, whatever. I mean, he's a good rider, but he's a 14-year-old kid that dad's a little nervous. So what I did was
You a helicopter
I
parent?
went, yeah. So I we're riding a lot. I'm riding the quad. He's riding the bike. We're doing just having fun. And I actually I don't know if you know this either. I bought a Honda Talon a couple of years ago, just trying to, I don't know, scratch the itch, right? So it's okay, just whatever. And so I get in for some warranty work, check it out, and they had a new Honda sitting there, dirt bike, and just like, man, I love that thing. I want that thing. So I ended up buying it. I never had really, I mean, I've had some dirt bikes over the years, but nothing I've really tried to ride to actually, you know, besides down the road or riding a wheelie or something. I just actually try to ride it and in the desert and go fast. Since my son's riding good, so I just got it about a month and a half ago, and I'm just learning how to ride it. But I'm enjoying it. It's a new challenge. Lots of fun. It seems like it's gonna be so much easier on my old body. It just seems like it's just kind of easy to ride. You know, it's different for sure, but I enjoy it. So now me and my son go ride dirt bikes. And eventually, I'm sure it'd just be his dirt bike, but I get to ride it.
So that's really, since the last time we talked, that's a new development with you. I mean, I think the
Yes,
last time we talked, you were hoping that he would develop the want to go ride with dad, so that you and him could go share outings together.
yes. I mean, and I'm not trying to push him to race at all. I'm not that guy. If he wants to, I'll support him. If he don't want to, I'll still support him. Um, he just wasn't. He never seemed like he was really into the quads. Like I was, um, or still am, I guess. Um, so he just decided he wanted a dirt bike, and I'm all for it, and actually, I mean, it's a I don't know the right words. It's a relieving or a nice or however you want to say it. I went and
Fun.
bought a new I went and bought a brand new dirt bike, and I've done nothing to it. One single thing. I mean, it's plenty good for me and a lot of people the way it is. And you know how that goes. A quad you're buying and you're changing this and you're buying suspension. So I appreciate that. I like the fuel injection. I like the electric start. I mean, I'm still learning to ride it. It's great. He rides his bike and this new 450. He rides it better than me. He's 14 years old. He's really. I'm actually proud of him. He's really smart. He doesn't push over his limits like a lot of us did back when we were younger. He just rides a real smooth, real calculated pace, and he's having fun. We actually went and did a pre run. These local races, they call them a pre run. You ride them the day before. Um, 30-mile loop probably. He went and did it. I tried to do it, was like the day after I got my bike, and I couldn't even. It was the worst day of my life. But the yeah. So he actually he did it, did good. I've heard a lot of dirt bike guys. It wasn't a conventional desert race that me and you would call desert race. So race day, he wasn't into it, but there's some races coming up next year that I'm gonna see if he'll want to go and just hit it. And I wouldn't really call it racing for me. I'm riding, but I'm enjoying it. It's a kind of a new thing, new challenge. I've I was really thinking I made a horrible mistake when I first got it. I just it was a battle, but I've only ridden it probably 12 times. Um, so it's I think I'm benefiting from I can read the terrain, right, because I've raced so many races. So the terrain's that part's easy. I obviously know how to ride the bike and get the power and roll on, all that stuff. So it's really just learning how to ride the two wheels. I'm not trying to use everything or learn everything, I should say. And so it's actually nice. I think I said this earlier, but I think it's easier on my body. I feel I can ride it pretty hard, and I don't feel like it beats me up as much.
Too funny, brother. So are all the sores healing from falling down?
Yeah, I'm knocking on some wood right now, but I haven't fell down yet. I've been real close, but if you know me, I work for everything I got, so I don't want to scratch that thing. So I'm trying my hardest not to drop it, but it's coming. I know.
Yeah, I know. And you were never really a guy that we ever had to worry about, not bringing the machine in. You didn't throw it away. I don't think you had, as long as I can have known you, I can't remember ever hearing of a spectacular get off that you ever had.
No, I had a few when I first started. Of course, I was younger, and I think the 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 thing that got me is I didn't grow up around racing, and I just kind of fell into it, and I think we talked about it the first time we talked, and I just kind of have a knack for it or something. But um, I was I always felt pressure from friends and local people, and even you and whoever.
Me,
I always had, well, not really you. You never did it, but I just felt I brought that pressure on myself that I felt like I either had to win or crash, I guess. So when I first started, I just felt I put a lot of pressure on myself. I started off really good, and I went to like I'm talking local New Mexico stuff. I dominated for a few years, and everybody has a bad race. There's good racers everywhere, and I'd come back from a race and I'd just have 20 people. How'd you do? Well, I got second. Second? Oh, I thought you were the man. So I don't know if that played into it, but I kind of had a pressure that I just was dumb and I wanted to win. It's almost made it easier to explain if I crashed instead of got second. I don't know if that makes sense. Oh, I was
okay.
doing so good, but I was doing so good, but I crashed instead of I was doing good, but uh, Joe Blow kicked my ass. You know what I mean? Um, so I kind of went through that a little bit. Um, I had some issues with a buddy that we were friends, and then we kind of got became rivals, and I felt some pressure there too. But after that, few years passed, and a couple of years in Best of the Desert, I pretty much said, I can only ride as fast as I can ride. You can be the fastest guy for 240 miles, but if it's a 250-mile race, you got to go 250-mile race, 250 miles. So I kind of made that. I kind of felt like I figured that out right away. Like you can, I mean, I try hard. I would try hard and I would give it my all, but I wouldn't go to that crazy level where it was just stupidity too many times. I mean, I think, I mean, you raced for years. You have to push it kind of past that limit a little bit, but you pick and choose, and also feel like I did it enough that if I was going past that limit, I knew how to handle it, or I don't want to say control. That's not the right word, but so. Anyways, I know that's a long answer to your question, but
I think that desert racing is the biggest lie in control there is, because you are going an extreme speed. I mean, best in the desert, for an example, you've done it. There's a lot of the places where you are as fast as that machine will go for an extended
yes,
period of time. And if you're even fathomly think you're in control, you're not, because there's
yeah,
so many little gotchas. And I would say that the quality of machine that you rode, the quality of machine that I rode, and that all the other guys rode was just such, they were such great preparation done, and the machines were good. It didn't matter what team you were running, in the top 4 or 5 machines, they were just great.
yes,
And at some point, there were like 10 or 12 teams out there that were just, you never knew who was going to win, you know?
yeah. And it was just bad day luck. Uh, you catch somebody and you're in their dust. Somebody else catches them, and then there's a side wind, and they're not in the dust. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, everybody was so close, and the competition was so good. Shocks. I mean, from when I started, and I mean, I know you can agree with me on this. From when I started in 97 racing my little races around here to today or 5 years ago, the shocks, they for me, and I'm sure it's like that for anybody in the industry or anybody that's racing, the shocks will inspire confidence, right? If you know that you're, like you said, you're going full out as fast as you can go, and you run up on something and you're confident, your shocks will take it, then there's no problem. You're good. Your shocks will take it. If 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 you're not, if you have that little bit of doubt, and even if your shocks will take it, but you have that doubt, you might blip the throttle, you might let off, you might panic a little bit, and then you're probably gonna eat
Go down.
shit. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, Elka, I don't have to tell you this, but for anybody else listening, Elka did, they said so much research with me, you, us, everybody that's out there to figure all that out. You can pretty much hit anything you want. Desert,
And
any ditch, anything. And if you don't panic, that's I always tell my kid right there, but don't panic no matter what. You have to keep your head. You can't just panic and slam the brakes. If you don't panic, 9 times out of 10, you're good. You won't go down.
I like that age old deal where, you pin it to win it, or a lot of times if you maintained speed,
Momentum,
you
yes.
because
Mhm.
it wouldn't always straighten itself up, but it would make it manageable to ride. I
Yes.
was in I was in a car accident with Marty Hart, and the whole time I'm driving, and what we were doing is a trailer got away from us, you know, blatantly because we loaded it incorrectly, but that's neither here nor there. It got away, and all he said is keep driving it, keep driving it. And when we came to a stop, he looked at me and goes, I can't believe you kept driving it. But that's kind of the way it is when you're out there in the desert. When you get out of shape, you keep riding it, and most of the time you'll come out on top.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
very seldom did we see guys really, really throw it away, you know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that comes with confidence. That's what I'm saying though, like Elka shocks, and I know this isn't a commercial for Elka, but they inspire confidence. I know to this day, I can hit a lot of crazy stuff. And if I'm confident and I bear down and I, pull through it, gas through it, whatever you want to say, I'm not going to wreck. I'd probably be hurt. It might be a hard hit or whatever, but I'm going to ride through it. And a lot of times, I mean, I could just remember running with my buddies around here, you know, we used to make jumps or find a jump somewhere, a gap or something. Hey, jump it, and I'd jump it. And hey, well, I want to do it. Okay. You got to go in third gear pinned or third gear 3/4 throttle. Okay. I think I could do it. Okay. Well, whatever you do, don't panic. But at the last second, let off because you're going to bust your ass. Well, you know, most of the guys, everything's good till the last second because you got to commit. You either going to do it or you don't do it. And
Right.
last second, here they go. They let off, and guess what happens? They bust their ass.
Yep.
So I was always said, if you're not sure you could do it, and I'm not saying I would jump 100-foot gaps or anything, but once I got a little bit older and learned how it worked, I was very confident. If I did something, I was very confident I'd do it, and it usually worked out.
Right, right. And a lot of it is all about confidence. I mean, to go race as many desert races as you did at the speeds you did, you had to have some confidence and some belief in your machinery and yourself, or it never would have worked out.
Yeah, I mean, you start off. I started off with a stock 250R, stock shock, stock, and I knew nothing about riding. I mean, I could start it and I can shift gears. and I just never really had confidence in me or the bike. But you just grow. It's miles, 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 practice, better, better machines, better products. Just over the years, we all got better. You, me, all the racers, all the machines, everything got better, better, better. And I just stuck with it because I'm hard headed like that. And before you know it, I felt I just was, just super confident. And that's, and I also believe that's a big thing. I look back at the races that it seems like since if you could probably go back to when Best in the Desert started, I think when did they start? Like 96 or something. Um, even
They
even the
were before
nationals,
then.
were they?
Yeah.
Um, even the nationals, I think about this too. It always seems like there's a like kind of like everybody has their time. I think everyone kind of climbs that ladder and they get to their peak and then they do really good for 2, 3, 4 years, right? They're the team to beat. They hardly ever get beat. They're, everybody wants to beat them. Everyone wants to beat them. And then it's kind of, you start falling off. And then it's the next people. Then this guy comes up. He's the guy. And then he's on top for a while. And everyone's trying to be, and then here comes another younger kid. Now there's young kids all over. Here comes this guy, and he's the guy. And it just, I think it's kind of been like that. And it's probably like that with all the, all the forms of racing. I mean, you see it in Formula One, you see it in like, so it's just this guy peaks and he does his thing for a while. This guy peaks. So I was just lucky enough, like Best in the Desert, to have I guess, my peak and to be able to win and have it for a little bit. But it's hard too when you start going down. It's very exciting when you're going up, right? When you're so close to winning. I lost by 10 seconds. I lost a 500-mile desert race by 10 seconds. I'm right there. I'm gonna beat this guy. And then once you do it, you get the confidence. I think the guy that you beat's kind of over it, and he's maybe kind of whatever. So then you're that guy, but then when you're the guy who gets beat and you start, then it's really not that fun.
Well, I it's kind of funny. I got to be there in the beginning of your deal and at the end, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I was working with a different team when you decided to cut back, but still you spent, I don't remember how many years with Cody, but after you rode with Danny, you won multiple championships with them, you won a few with Cody, you know,
Yep.
spent a lot of time in that upper echelon of Best in the Desert.
Yeah. Like I, I mean, I love those guys. Me and Cody, I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's like my brother. He's a lot younger brother,
He's
but
your little
yeah, but he's my brother. Danny's like my brother. He's a little bit younger, but he's not like Cody. Guys, my brother. I love those guys. I had great times with those guys. They're both awesome riders, awesome dudes. Um, they made me better. They made us better. They're a big part of my whole racing life, and I appreciate everything from those guys. I feel like I'm sure Danny. I know Cody's still racing cars. I I think Danny's kind of a lifer like me. I think I'm saying this. I'm guessing. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but he probably still thinks, man. Oh man, I wish I could go race. I wish I could go race. Baja, or let's do a Vegas to Reno and stuff. I know it's in his blood. He was very good. He killed it in Baja for years. He was just on top of his game for years. And I know Cody's, I think, is kind of getting his how do you say it? His scratching his itch by racing side by sides, and that's cool. Um, like I said, great guys, big part of my deal. I couldn't have never raced all those years without them. I feel like they probably quit when I was they were smarter than me. I kept trying to go after they were done. I'd just try to find somebody that would be dumb enough to ride, you know. But I don't regret nothing. It was good times.
You know what? You got to stop when you want to stop. You know, it's I think it's an addiction that's one of the more positive ones you can have, if an addiction is ever positive. But you, you're not going to stop racing or going to the races until it's really your decision.
Yeah, for sure. It's got to be your thing, not no one can tell you. No one, can, and you know, I kept. I felt I was kind of using an excuse to myself that I took. It took me years to get where I could go to the races and have a bike for me, and I could go to the races and have everything paid and all this stuff. And once I got that taste, it wasn't. I didn't want to do it for 2 years and quit. Like I never wanted to quit, right? Because then now hey man, all I do is show up. This is great. I got the bike, I got this, I do all that stuff. So then even when I was starting to feel like maybe it's time, I'm like, no, I worked so hard to get to this point. I'm not gonna give it up now. So I kind of kept it going, you know. And I when we called it quits, my partners, everybody was kind of done. Cody, I was riding with Cody at the end there, and he was he was kind of done. My sponsor was building the bikes, and he was done. And I didn't want to go back to building the bikes. I didn't want to go back to paying for everything, and I just said, "Man, I'm already this old. I'm good. I've done everything I want to do. I'm good." But there's still a big part of me is like, what, you want to go to Parker? Let's go. When is next month, January? Let's go. Come on. Me and you, Leonard.
No, sorry, you're not going to get me out there. I know that if I would build a bike, I guarantee there's 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys I could call right now, even though that they haven't raced in a while, they would jump on in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I know that too. A lot of it's probably
Hey, you never know. I have some things, some irons in the fire that I am trying to work because I'm not done. There's still some things I want to do personally because I want to do them. And I'm not saying ride. I'm talking about building machines. Physically, my riding days, I think, are over, other than some testing here and there, or you'll see come out here. It'll have already came out by the time your episode drops, but we're gonna we did a story on 3-wheelers, and I went out and rode all the 3-wheelers, or rode a bunch of them. Um, and it's not that I don't love to ride. It hurts, man. It just freaking
I
hurts.
know. I know. I mean, there again, that's why I'm liking the dirt bike. It just seems like it's easier on me. I mean, I like I said, until I fall down, but it's not beating me up as bad.
I have problems with everybody knows I got a shoulder issue, but I have problems with the weight of the helmet, and the helmets today are nothing.
I know.
I mean,
Oh, if I haven't ridden in a while, like when I first started this dirt bike, my neck would hurt. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? It's just the helmet.
yeah, I had problems with wearing a mountain bike helmet for a while when I was mountain bike riding, and I'm like, dang, but that's just years and years of athletics,
Yeah.
from football to throwing yourself on the ground too many times because you have no skills. That was my problem, not yours,
Oh
but
yeah.
mine. you know it's just a lot of fun. One of the big questions that I had, because you and I have had a couple conversation in between tapings. We tried to get this done last year, and there was a big storm at your place, and
Yeah.
we got to have some off air conversations. And one of the nagging little questions that I've had during this time is, what does your son think when he looks at your trophy case and listens to some of your stories about racing, does he ever confide in you or talk to you or ask you questions about that?
So he he didn't, right? When he was younger. I feel like he could care less. He's I feel like he's 14. He's riding a dirt bike. He's riding it well. Um, I feel like he's kind of more, how do you say it? Not concerned, but more into it or more interested in what I did, how I did it, stuff. So he does. He's funny. He's kind of like me. He don't talk a whole lot. He's pretty shy. Just kind of does his thing. But he does ask me a lot. I got a kick out of. I went to the when I got the dirt bike and I went to the desert race. That's I say local. It's somewhat local. And I just got the dirt bike and he was on his dirt bike. So I had a guy. I did not like the course. It was a real slow single track. It wasn't to me. It wasn't a desert race. It was just a little tiny crappy course. Um, I I struggled. That's obviously why I didn't like it because I couldn't ride and the dirt bike, and I just had a miserable time. So I was talking to an old friend that I seen over there. This guy raced with me in 2006, Vegas to Reno. Good rider, good dude. He actually raced with me a few races in '06. Just work, family guy, and just, he couldn't continue. He just you know how it goes. Um, Good dude. So I seen him. I hadn't talked to him in a couple of years. I seen him over there at that race, and he has a dirt bike, and he's always been a quad guy like me or whatever. So we are just bullshitting or whatever, and then he was he said my son said something about we're riding, and then I said, yeah. I said I can't do it. I couldn't even. I don't even think I could finish the course. It's terrible. So it was all dirt bikes, no quads. It was just dirt bike because everything's all dirt bikes now. So my buddy that I rode with, that good friends of mine, he said, "Well, why don't you should go get your quad and then you'll kick all their asses. And then when you come in first, everyone's gonna be freaked out because you know you're on a quad." In so many words. So I kind of I kind of laughed, but I looked at my son and I seen him look, and I think he kind of said, hey, that was cool. It kind of made make him say like, holy crap. So it was cool, man. He's cool that he said it. It's cool that my son, I felt like he kind of freaked out, said, oh damn. But they don't the problem is when I raced a lot, they were so young. So I wish I could race like I did 10 years ago, my son this age, so he could go watch me race. And I can't. I mean, he goes riding with me. He knows that I could still get along pretty good, but I think it'd be cool for him to go to a race with me 10 years ago. I don't know about going now to the grandpa class, but it might be cool.
Well, just to see you on the podium at the end of the race, and get an award like that. I mean, that's always your dream, is to have your son or your daughter or your family there. Um, yeah, my son never got to never got to be there when dad did good, so I get it. We never
Yeah.
yeah, it just never happens the way you want it to, at that time of your life. But uh, I got to experience a lot of stuff with my son. He got to go and travel a lot with us, and I was very fortunate, um, that way, you
Yeah.
know. But I understand exactly what you're saying. Having him there at the highlight of it would have probably changed a little bit of perspective, because they see the pictures, they see the, but it doesn't really dawn on them until somebody like your buddy says that in front of them, and they're like, "Hey, well." Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe Pops really was fast.
Yeah, I think it kind of meant something because this random guy said that, um, and it's good. I mean, honestly, everything happens for a reason. If I'd have been younger and kids, I might not even raced what I raced. So it probably wouldn't happen anyways. So I was at I mean, whatever. And even my daughter, it's kind of she rides my quad. She rides my best in the desert quad still to this day, and she rides it good. She cruises right along, but she's not. She's just not into it. We've talked about it before. She plays softball. She's very focused on that, and it's good. But it's different. I think now that my son's riding, I mean, really, he's really riding really good, and he kind of appreciate it. And I just want to keep him, you know,
Having a good
the
time.
yeah, having a good time. I'm not trying to push him to race. I don't care. I do want him. I'm gonna make him do one more race with me at a real desert race, like a, a desert race here in New Mexico. Like
Dirt
that's
bikes or
not
quad?
dirt bikes because there ain't no quads. And he's all about dirt bikes. He's not about the quads at all. He loves the dirt bike. So we'll go. We'll do one more. It's one of the local races. One of my favorite races. I used to race quads on, and I say local. It's 3 hours away, and I'm gonna pretty much make him do that. And I want to do it on the bike. I think there's an old man class, novice, and those old guys better watch out because I've been practicing on that dirt bike. It's gonna be on.
But it's a novice class, dude. It's just a novice.
Well, it doesn't matter. Hey.
Trust me, I know. I got B class or C class when I ride too, because I'm slow. But I love to ride. I mean, you never lose the love to ride. You just
You just can't.
got rid of my dirt bike in 6, 7 years ago. You know, not that I have to ask, but my wife said, "Yeah, you get another dirt bike. You know, when the time comes." I just don't see that time ever coming. You know, as much
Yeah.
as I think, oh man,
This was
I'm gonna go get one of the new CRF 450s. Gosh, that bike is just awesome. And then I think about it realistically and go, not.
I got a CRF 450 RX, the RX, and I'm serious. The first 3 or 4 rides I have lost my mind. I am crazy. But now I'm kind of figuring it out and I'm enjoying it and it's a good time. And everybody always asks me, what are you doing? You're this old. Why are you buying? I just said, hey, it's a midlife crisis. And I just don't like Corvettes. So I bought me a dirt bike.
But you're not that old.
I know, but I feel kind of old.
You haven't even got 50. You haven't even hit 50 yet.
Well, that's another funny thing. I was laughing because I was looking at the little race series and they have it over 50 and I turned 50 in April. So I'm like, I'm waiting for the over 50.
Oh, dude, you're still a kid. You're still a kid. You know, I talked to Doug Eichner, and Doug Eichner just says, "Dude, I want to go back to this, and I want to go back to those days again." And he says, "It was the funnest time of my life."
Yeah.
Yeah, Doug, that's a long time ago, bud. It's past. We're not we're not doing that anymore because I don't want to do all that work. You know, as much
No,
as
but it's hard to
go ahead.
go ahead. No, it's hard to accept that you're not that same guy. And you are, but you're just not, you just don't have that quite the same. I feel like I could ride really fast for a little while, still. Um,
That long?
yeah, I just, I just can't, do it for 500 miles.
You know, yeah, I get the itch every once in a while where I think that maybe maybe. And because I still train, I physically go train, and yeah, I'm probably lighter than I was when I raced in the desert, but I think I'm in better shape. I'm just 12 years, 14 years older.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big difference.
It's huge difference compared to my knees hurt then and now. Oh my god. you know uh, I don't know if I don't know if I'd be able to stand up and get off of the machine at the pit to change riders.
Oh yeah, they gotta carry you off.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Each side just pick you up and pick you off. Yep.
You need a little lift, put me over there, put me in the chair, and then put me in the truck, drive me to the next one, and then get the lift out and put me back on the quad so that I don't have to hurt myself walking over there. Oh man.
Yeah.
When you were racing, if you could go back and think about, a couple of your most memorable rides, what would they be?
So there's uh quite a few, and I enjoyed every minute of pretty much every race. The Probably one of the most memorable race. I'm not sure the year, maybe 2010 Baja 1000. It was a loop race. It went back to it went through San Felipe, back to Mike Sky Ranch, through the long loop Mike Sky Ranch. It was the only way. It's the only time it went that way when I was racing, and then through the whatever you want to call it, the mountain range up Simpsons Hill. I know that was like a thing that people know, and back into Valley T. So it was a good 100 and I want to say 50 miles from San Felipe, and so I think I don't think you were there. You were done. I mean, you were not done. You were just didn't make it that race, and I think I started and then I got off. I went a little ways, maybe 50 miles, and I got off, and then I had posted up at San Felipe to get on to do the whoops in San Felipe and do that Mike's long loop, I think is what they called it. It's really tough. Everybody kind of talked about it. It was tough. And so when the bike showed up to I think San Felipe around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, they tell me if you shut it off, it won't start. You have to pull start it. Um, we didn't shut it off. I took off. I went probably 30 miles in the whoops. The bike died. I was there trying everything I could figure out. Couldn't get nothing going. Limited tools. It's getting dark. The lead trophy truck came by. It felt like at 250 miles an hour. About freaking thought he's gonna run me over. I couldn't get anybody by the radio. I didn't have phone service. I just kept trying. I couldn't get nothing going. Finally, I'm calling weatherman the whole time. I honestly probably called him 100 times, and the 101 I got through to him, but he wouldn't help me because I didn't say my race number first. So he pretty much told me to call back and say my race number first because he didn't know who the hell he was talking to. So whatever. I never got through again because the traffic on the radio was so crazy, right? Everybody just calling him. So, anyways, I finally get a hold of Craig. I tell him where I'm at. We go to he comes and pulls me out to the highway. We're working on the quad. Um, Figure out no spark, which I thought it was, and stator was bad. We went to. I actually took my quad that year to pre-run. I took the stator off my quad, put on the race quad. You there? I think we got cut off.
Yeah, we did for a second. You there?
Okay. Yep. Where was I at? Do you know?
You took the stator out of your bike.
Yep. So I took the stator out of my bike. I put it in the race bike, and I've already had a pretty stressful day. It's probably 10 o'clock at night. I'm kind of like, hey, does someone want to ride? Because I was just by Borrego, you know where that's at. We still had a long ways to go before you once you left on the Mike's Sky Ranch loop, you were you were by yourself for miles, right? 100 miles. Like you were done. No one could get you, whatever. So I said, hey, can somebody ride a while and I'll eat and get ready for the big ride. So no one wanted to do it because they hadn't pre-run it. I I guess I could understand that. So I jumped on and rode, went to Mike Sky Ranch, started up Mike Sky Ranch. This was the point of no return. Lights go out. I call Craig Christy, and he says to come back. I come back. We fix the lights. I take off again. I get about 5 miles. Mike Sky Ranch. Nope, lights don't work. I call Craig, and I'm kind of over it. I hate to say it. I'm just like, man, this is we're just doomed. So Craig's disappointed, and he's like, hey, man, if you don't, if we don't finish this race, our championship's done. So I ended up doing it. I said, okay, I'll do it. So lights went out completely. I'm just riding up this mountain and just up through this mountain range. I'm stopping. I would just ride when I could. And of course, it's pitch black, no moon, no nothing. I ride, and when I can't see, I got a little flashlight, little pencil flashlight on my boot. I just stop, look real quick, see where I was going, put the flashlight back in, and take off. So I do this, and I go, and I get to a Baja Pits somewhere out there at the actual ranch, I think, and it's freezing for one, right? When we pre-ran it, it was 20 degrees. So it's freezing, and I'm kind of you know, halfway delirious. I don't know what's going on. So I get out there, we try to fix the lights. They all they do is speak Spanish, and I'm having a hard time telling them, but we worked, couldn't fix the lights. I take off again, and I'm just going what I can. Water crossings, water dammed up, people, trucks drowned out, people drowned out, just kind of mayhem. And then you're just out there for an hour by yourself, no lights, pitch black. You're trying to find the trail. I come up with this guy. He has a fire. His quads broke down. He broke a chain. I'm kind of me to hang out with him because lonely at that time, and I wanted a reason to stop. But I went ahead and pushed on, and then I know you know, but Jason Wade had raced on the Articat team and actually rode to Baja with Jason Wade. Once we got there, he went with his team, and I went with Craig, my team, whatever. I get to this point, all these trucks and quads and stuff are just stop on this hill, and there's just crazy like boulders and all this stuff, and it's just kind of like mayhem. And I'm I'm pretty exhausted, and I look over and I see this guy under one of those moon blankets. It was real thin. I think they're called moon
Yeah.
blanket.
Ice
So
blanket. One.
yeah. So I look over. This guy looks at me and goes, Dave. I'm like, yeah, what's up? So it's Jason Wade that broken down right there. So me and him run like, lovers in the night, and we're hugging, and I'm so excited to see him, to actually see someone I knew, because it's been 12 hours. He's excited, whatever. So I'll never forget, I don't have lights, and all these people are stuck. They couldn't make this hill. And I tell Jason, "Do you have a flashlight?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Can you shine it on the hill so I can make it up there? I got to get the bike to Craig." So he goes, "Well, the sun's coming up. Why just wait 5 minutes?" And I had no clue. I thought it was, 3 in the morning or whatever. But sure enough, I looked and the sun's coming up. So I actually waited probably 5 minutes. The sun came out enough where I could see. I climbed the hill, showed up at Valley T. I'm calling on the radio, no answer. And I'm like, oh, these guys think I died. And they went home, It's like, because I was gone forever. And finally, I just roll up and all the guys are there, but they're all asleep, in the truck. Everybody's asleep in the truck. And I, they're obviously super excited to see them. See me. I was super excited to see them. And we checked out the bike. We did this and that. And then, of course, the sun was up. We didn't need lights. So we, I think Andy got on the bike. I think Craig followed him on another bike, another quad. And I just remember getting in Steve Abrego's truck, and I just remember sitting in the back seat. And next thing I know, it was like 5 hours later. That's how exhausted I was. So exhausted, I was just kind of out of it. But it was I wouldn't say cool experience, but it was. I'm glad I did it. We ended up winning the championship that year, so it was all worth it. But it was a very interesting day.
Yeah, and your a-hole mechanic wasn't there.
Yeah, thanks. You could have fixed the lights, and then I could have been good.
Well, I figured out what happened to him after I got the machine back. Um, we built a custom light battery box for everything, and the lid broke the eyelet.
The lid of the airbox.
The lid of the battery box that we built
Oh yeah. Okay.
broke the eyelet, and I found it almost immediately, but it didn't help. Didn't save anything. We
No, and I
but we totally revamped the situation and went to a battery the upgrade subframe, to the electric.
yes to those 6. Yep.
Yeah, we went to the '06 up subframe and put the battery on the side, had a custom wiring harness built, and never had another problem.
No, for sure. That's a lot of those races. What is just trial and error. And I was so. By the time I got through the stator and that fixed, and then the lights, I was just mentally done. I was already, and I should have caught all that. I was just kind of like, oh, it's messed, and I just said, I'm just gonna try to push through it. But it was a long night. It was a long, cold, lonely night
You
dealing
know,
with that.
Craig tried to call me, and we could
Oh
never
yeah,
get the phone conversation to last long enough to have any dialogue.
yeah. And like I think about it after I thought about it after that. I mean, it's obviously the batteries. I mean, the lights were hooked to the battery.
Yep, that's
I
what
mean,
was.
it's a very simple fix. It wasn't anything hard. It was just I was like I said, I was pretty out of it. And if I remember, I think the last time I looked at it, the post was broke, huh?
No, it
Off the
all did
battery.
was snap the
The
eyelet. It was the eyelet was snapped and the wire had moved away, and there was no wire.
oh yeah,
And with no
but
wire there,
the
you
eyelid on the battery.
yeah. So
Yeah.
the wires came over. Well, when that wire broke, it just dropped away, and there's no wire there, and it broke under the bolt, so you didn't even see that it was missing.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, no excuse, but I was pretty out of it by then. We'd already been up since 4. You know how it goes over there.
Oh, totally.
But I
I felt like I didn't miss a race after that.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't care. I didn't care what was going on. Um, I did not miss a race after that. You know, I did just, we never had another experience like that though either, you know.
No. No, like you said, it just broke. What else can you say?
I was pissed, you know, because it had to be
And
the
then
race,
this,
you know.
yeah, and then this, the stator thing. You never know when the stator's going to go. You,
No, you don't. And you know, from riding those machines long enough as we all did, we put new ones in all the time, but they still didn't matter. They were just
yeah, you put a brand new one, and an hour later it's done. You never know.
right. I, that was uncharacteristic for Hondas though to have so many stators fail.
Yeah,
But
I
all
know.
of the models had that issue.
I know with when I was riding with Danny, Mike, Ricky Stater would sponsor us, and he always had us run the light on even in the day. He said it was better for the stator if you run the lights all day. So we always ran a little light all the time.
You know, at the last bike that, you know, when I was working with the Simmons guys, yeah, we ran that
Yeah.
little light right on the bottom, right at the bottom of the bumper all the time as well.
Yep. Mike used to tell us it's better for it.
Well, didn't you guys run a battery also because you ran a radio under the hood, you and Danny?
Yes. Yeah. So we ran on batteries on the O5s. On Danny's, he did. We didn't really best in the desert, right? We're not concerned about lights, but we tried. Danny was really the one really engineering it, but we tried like crazy to get a chase truck radio under the hood because you get more power, you get more distance, and it worked great when it worked, but it seemed like I don't know if the vibration or some every time after a while it would go down. But he I think he got that from Greg Stewart when he rode Greg Stewart. They always had a big chase truck radio on their bike, um, and the distance and it's way better with that than a handheld. But it just seemed like we could never figure it out perfect where it'd last the whole race. I know with Craig, it was always handhelds, and then we never tried under the hood. But Danny did try multiple times, and it worked great. It just seemed like after a long race, over time, the vibration something would kill it, or something would come loose, and we couldn't get it right.
Well, when I rode with the Simmons, we had a radio under the hood, um, with a dome on the fender.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the couple times that we used it, because we never used it. And I mean, just the couple times that we did use it though, it seemed to work. I know
Yeah,
the first time we tried to use it, we had it on the wrong, we did something wrong and it didn't transmit. You know, the radio guys basically told us what we did wrong. But the second time when we had the dome on, we went to the dome on the fender and yeah, it was bitching, but it was just never used. It was
oh
almost
yeah,
it was almost an overkill, you know. I guess if we would have not had it, we would have needed it every time.
yeah. I think obviously, Baja, you need the radio really bad. Best in there is it's nice to have it. It's nice to know, hey, I'm coming in. Hey, I got a flat. Hey, the bike's making a noise, whatever. And then it's nice when you're leaving when pit's like, hey, so and so's 3 minutes behind you. All that's great, but I don't feel like you need it to work the whole way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, best in the desert. The needs in best in the desert were totally different than the needs down in Baja. In Baja, we just needed, you almost needed we almost needed a chopper above us just to tell us what was going
Oh
on.
yeah, yeah. Just communications terrible there, and it's like you need it more than any place else. You know.
Yeah, you talked about the pressure thing earlier on, and that was one of the things when I asked you to come and ride on that team was, you got to remember you're not in the States. It's a different world down here, I mean, if you get off, it's not an instantaneous ride to the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a big thing, and I always kept that in my mind. I knew I always felt like I could. I always rode, you know, maybe 90% of what I could ride because it's a real thing.
Right.
You get off, you have a bad get off down there. Um, First of all, no one might come get you for 12 hours. I mean, the place is so remote. Even your pit crew, even like some things as well as I do, you can't even get a truck to. Um, you might get lucky and a helicopter grab you or something, but if not, you could be laying out there for hours. So it's a it's a real thing. Um, I was lucky. I had one little get off. It was no big deal, but I just tried to be a little extra careful.
Right.
Riding out there. Still try to go fast. And I still felt like I went fast. It just a little, it's a little bit of that in my mind. Like it's just different. And then you go to you hear stories of if you have a bad accident, they get you to the hospital, and then they do all this stuff to you, and then you owe $30,000. Well, they don't let you leave until you pay. So, or what are the prices? So then you got to figure it out, or you go straight to jail after you get out of the hospital. From what I heard, like you can't leave. You got to pay. Um, so I was fortunate enough. I feel like I pushed pretty hard. Sometimes in your racing, your race, your competitiveness takes over, and you don't think about stuff like that. I think I did that quite a bit racing pre running. I was probably more careful because I think about, hey, I don't want to crash out here. But I was I was thankful that I came out of there with no major issues ever in Baja. Like I've said before in the past, I've nothing but great times down there. It was good times.
That was a lot of fun racing down there. You get to think about all of the cool things that you get to do. And for you especially, I mean, you've seen all of, you got to race in New Mexico for the local stuff, then you transitioned into Best in the Desert and you got to race and score. I mean, it it's a lot of fun to think about the different places that we got to ride. I only rode in Mexico one time, and you and a partner raced in that same race.
Yeah,
It
it
was a
was the
That was the first and only time that I think you and I raced against each other.
yeah. I'm trying to. Was that a best in the desert?
Yep, it was the Best in the Desert 300, the only one that was ever had in Mexico.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. He probably thought Casey probably thought it was a little too crazy. How come we never went back?
I don't know. I don't know why he never ventured into Utah to have races, or maybe even into New Mexico or Arizona, because it
Yeah,
would have totally been doable.
yeah. I think probably the BLM and everybody's easier to get along with in Nevada, and there's so much space between the towns and stuff. You know what I mean? It's just there's a lot. I mean, we have a lot of open land here too, but I don't think it's quite like that.
No, I don't think so. Did you ever try to race a UTV?
No, I bought a Talon, and I think I told you earlier I was trying to maybe scratch the itch, maybe kind of convert, but it don't. It's fun. I have a lot of fun, but it's not the same thing, and I I can't I can't see myself doing everything I used to do and even more to the UTV and then going and it seems like they break down 8% of the time. And that's a lot of work and money to go to DNF. I was more proud of probably that than winning the championships. Is I think I DNF won best of the desert race for 14 years, not missing a race. That was my thing. I'm not DNFing no matter what. Um, those guys, I guess I shouldn't say those guys, but from what I can tell, UTVs break down a lot, and they don't, you know, they DNF a lot. So I don't know.
Not
You want
not
to
as not as not as cool. No, I'm not a UTV guy. I can't drive them. Everyone that I've test driven, I've wrecked.
really?
Everyone. My brother won't even let me drive his Talon because he knows that I'll wreck it.
I feel like I can get along pretty good on the Talon. I feel like I can tear it up pretty good, but I feel like if I try to drive it like that for 200 miles, it's going to break, you know? So I'm just kind of whatever.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just for me, it's like fun for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I
And
know.
and
I thought it would be more.
I know that if I went and drove with my brother much, I guarantee that we would have mangled cars
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was driving Randy at GPR's car after I had already rolled it. Hey, that's your phone.
Yeah, sorry.
After I'd already rolled his car, um, we were dicing back and forth a couple times, and if it would have been my car, I'd have shoved it in there and he'd bent some parts up because that's my brother. I'm not gonna get beat by my brother.
Yeah, yeah, you can't let your brother beat you.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. But
That's not cool.
we had a good time out in the desert. That was a few years back, but it's just not that cool for me. You know,
Yeah,
I
it's not the same. It's hard to. I don't know.
I still love the ATV. You
Yeah,
know,
I still love the ATV. Like I said, it seems like it beats me up pretty good, and the bike's a new thing. I'm enjoying that right now. So I guess if it has a handlebar, I'm good. Might put a
so
handlebar on that Talon.
so if David Ham calls you up and says, "Hey, I want you to race my three wheeler in Best in the Desert," you gonna go do it?
Yeah, I I grew up on three wheelers. It's been a while since I've ridden one, tried to go fast on one, but I
You got
could.
a TRX conversion three wheeler or a CRF conversion three wheeler. Um, uh, Wrangle has a WR YFZ YZF YZ450F conversion. That's I got
Oh,
to ride.
they're cool, huh? Yeah,
My,
I
go ahead.
inherited I inherited a '09 CRF that needed a lot of work, and the guy didn't want to spend the money, so I got it from him, and I was I was actually gonna do that with that thing, and I was trying to get a hold of the place, and I couldn't get a hold of nobody, and uh, I just kind of I don't know got discouraged, and I ended up just selling it. I actually sold it to my brother, just as a bike. But I still so that's what I thought about this new Honda, about this 2023. If I can't ride a dirt bike, I'll just try to make it a 3-wheeler.
Well, if you're going to do that, do the conversion where you make your own frame, and you can adapt your 450R quad parts to it, and then your front end from your motorcycle. But don't try to take the motorcycle frame. It doesn't work the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a great idea because you just change the swing arm and the
But
triple clamps, right?
I don't want to say too much. Brother, you have a great one, and be ready. We're not going to make it so long and so far apart before we have you on again.
Okay, I appreciate it. You let me know.
All right, man.
I'll be ready.
Make sure you tell the family I said thank you so much for letting me borrow you. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV-TALK Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter.